Hello and welcome to today's LOL Esports Round Up. We're going to cover a bit of news that's been announced in the last 24 hours, as well as recap MSI, preview tomorrow's MSI games. Obviously, the news is so much more important than the games. Oh my god, it is so important. And I know that you guys will not skip ahead because that would just be so silly. So the news. TSM officially allows Chowie to leave. Chowie was the coach the last three splits, going 19 and 35 along the way. I'm not going to include his career coaching stats because we do not count minor region coaching stats in the major region news. So, Chowie is out. TSM does not have an assistant coach listed. There are rumors of who may become the coach, but I do not dive into rumors. I don't care if your favorite LOL Esports reporter put it out on Twitter. Good for them. Until it's official in the GCD and Leaguepedia makes it official in their system, I could give a shit less if it actually happened or not. Dignitas also officially, because this is another thing. We knew Rich was going to Dignitas for a while now. It became official yesterday. Rich, a Korean top laner, played with Ninja and Pajamas this past split, only playing in one game. He played with Victory 5, that is now known as NIP, last year. I thought he was the weak link of Victory 5, which is why they didn't go to Worlds or MSI despite being a team that was worthy of it. This team had Karsa, Rookie, Fodic, and PP God. I know some people don't like Fodic or PP God off the Rift, but the fact of the matter is they're good players in my opinion, and Rich was the weak link. In summer, 3.6 KDA, 8.1 CS per minute, 56.1 KP, slightly above average, but for a team that's trying to go to Worlds, you need more. 404 gold per minute, 582 damage per minute, so did deal a lot of damage, 12 champions in 37 games. He is replacing Armut. Armut is still listed on Dignitas' roster, so I have him on here, but he is not the starter. Armut really struggled with Dig. 1.6 KDA, very bad. 7.8 CS per minute, so below average in the LCS. Going into it, I thought he would be middle of the road. I thought that he could compete, but it just did not happen. 56.6 KP, 365 gold per minute, 455 damage per minute, 8 champions in 18 games. A lot of teams were just banning his Gnar outright, the Gnarmut meme. I think he's done. I think he's going to go to ERLs, TCL or something and kind of, waste away, if that makes sense. As far as the recap and sneak peek are concerned, I'm 3-1 on predictions, went 2-0 today. BLG and Rainbow 7, this was pretty easy. BLG railroaded Rainbow 7 2-0. It was disgusting. G2 beating Loud in Game 2 was more dominant, but Game 1 was rough for G2, so I would say this series is more lopsided. Elk 21-0-16, 40% of the damage. His support on went 2, 2, and 36. So the bot lane went 23, 2, and 52. Myru led the way for Rainbow 7, going 2-10-4, 36% of the team's damage. It was awful. BLG went after Rainbow 7's bot lane, often in the laning phase, got up big, dove them time and time again. Shun playing very well in this series. It was terrible. It was terrible. Clearly, BLG are scrimming G2. They played Nautilus mid as well. And Golden Guardians clearly also scrimming G2 because they took a little thing out of their book, but we'll get into that in a minute. So Nautilus mid out of Yagao looked very good. I mean, it was just, they beat the crap out of him. CEO is not very good. He is not ready for this. Lions is also not ready for this. Myru, 10 deaths. I thought a Korean mid laner would be able to compete. Did not. Now, as far as top lane, I thought, I thought that was the strongest part of Rainbow 7. Sorry, I got something in my eye. So Game 1 was a blowout. There was nothing I could take from Game 1 would be positive for Rainbow 7. It was disgusting. Game 2, Adi went top lane a couple times on Elise and took care of Bin. Bin, I would say, was the worst player on BLG in this one. I think he had a negative KDA when it came to kills and deaths. But at the same time, what it was is Rainbow Seven had to focus on something, and they're like, well, the bot lane sure as hell ain't going to be able to do it, so we got to go top. Mid lane wasn't doing it. It was just downright awful. Rainbow Seven looking very bad. They need to. So I said this. The LCO merging with the PCS in playoffs made sense. The LCO could not compete internationally anymore. TCL got demoted as well. They don't even get a Worlds opportunity anymore. Latin America are not far behind. It would not shock me if they ended up in a situation where their top 2 seeds went to the LCS playoffs, which honestly I think it should, because 8 teams in the LCS making summer playoffs is a abomination. It's a joke. It's terrible. It's embarrassing. That's the most embarrassing playoff format I've ever seen, that 8 of 10 teams make the playoffs. I think that's just absolutely atrocious. Or they go to CBLOL. It doesn't matter to me either way, but Latin America needs to step it up. Now, Golden Guardians and GAM. I thought this would be 2-1. I thought GAM would give them a run, and it did not happen. Golden Guardians really took it to them. Licorice played Poppy in one of the games. I think it was game 1, which is hence the G2 scrim thought. Elk was MVP of the first one. Stixay's MVP of the second one. He had a pentakill, going 17, 1, and 15. 28% of damage was on Tristana to end the game. So he got a penta. And if you're new to the channel, because somebody was surprised when I picked a penta player as MVP, if you get a penta, you end up as my MVP, because sometimes that might be their only penta. Licorice, 4-1, 15 in top lane. Licorice did not int, and Kiea did not take advantage of him, despite going 3-6-3, 31% of damage for GAM. GAM looked very bad. The bot lane struggling, as expected. Style and Xin not doing well, and the fact of the matter is, it's into Stixay and Huhi. If you cannot do decent into them, you're going to have tougher task against that right there, or that, or that. It's not going to work. Sorry. And Katie really didn't do anything that was of note. Levi did steal, I think he may have stole a Baron. No, Adi stole a Baron. Levi, I wish he could have done more. He didn't. It was just disgusting. They went after the bot lane. Golden Guardians did, and it worked. It worked very well. Gory also very good on the LeBlanc in game 2. His Ari was solid in game 1, but game 2, I thought, honestly, he was probably MVP before Stixay got his penta. Solo killing style even at one point. Just absolutely dominant play out of him. And it's good because, you know, this was a test, a big test, because it was like our Golden Guardians, you know, clearly better than these minor region teams, given the fact that they struggled throughout the LCS season for the most part, and they clearly beat GAM. It was not close. So they'll just segue. They have to play BLG tomorrow. That's the sneak peek, right? So BLG, Golden Guardians start us off. Both 1-0. Neither team has played against each other ever, because neither team has been to an international event until this one. Overlap of players. Bin did not play Licorice. They did not go to Bin and Licorice did not go to Worlds at the same time. Yagao, Gory has not. So Licorice went, River, like it doesn't overlap. We have no overlap of players. So the last matchup was at Worlds 2022 between the LPL and LCS, and the LPL went 6-0. That was EDG 2-0 into Cloud9, JDG 2-0 into EG, and RNG 2-0 into 100 Thieves. That one is that's a series tomorrow. G2 and PSG. So you would think to yourself, G2 just beat the crap out of Loud. And this is going to be contradictory, so we need to talk about G2 for a minute. They have played before. At MSI 2022, in fact, in Rumble stage, PSG won both games against G2. And I said this going into Worlds. I've said this before. I'll say it again. G2 does not do well against minor region teams when it comes to PCS, VCS. They just aren't as good as other regions. And why that is, hard to tell. Historically, it's been the case, so to say they're scrimming, it would be silly for this case, but historically they've struggled. and it does not make any sense. If you watch my minor region, Battle of the Minor Region video where I explained my hierarchy a couple months ago, most of the losses by major regions to minor region teams over the last few years, or last couple years for that matter, have been the LEC, have been G2. It just is what it is. Sometimes the LCS does lose, but more often when it happens, it's LEC. And case in point here, 2-0. I think they even lost to Saigon Buffalo in the Rumble stage, so they went 3-1 or something. 1-3. So the fact of the matter is, this is closer than it looks. Why, I don't know. PSG does not have any of the same players from that roster. Last year's MSI, it was, well, Azai was the sub. He might have played in one of these games, but we're not even going to talk about that. Because he sucked in that game, and frankly, that was the only game he played. So, Hanabi is out. He's with Deep Cross Gaming. Juhan is a world champion now for DRX and still a substitute for DRX. Mid lane Bay from PSG is now T1 Challengers mid laner behind Faker. And then the bot lane Unified is retired, and Kai Wing plays for CFO, who went to Worlds in 2022 with a different support. So, what am I trying to say here? PSG's roster is completely different. Does that mean that G2 should be able to beat them? Probably. But historically, this is not as simple as it looks. So take that for what you will. And that's it for the LOL Esports Roundup today. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. Become a YouTube supporter. And I hope to see you again tomorrow.